Hi, everybody. Welcome to Chef Look Cooks. I'm Virginia Monroe for the Edgartown Library, and Chris Look is the famous Chris Look. He's our resident chef and also all-around tech guy. If you never come into the library, you should know that too about him. But today he's going to be sending us a great recipe for St. Patrick's Day from his very own kitchen. And I'm introducing you today, Chris, because it's my last program with you. And I really have enjoyed this. Chris has been such a champ with all of my weird ideas for programs. He's jumped in. So I really appreciate it. And I know you do out there too. I'll let you take it away, Chris, and I will monitor the chat and see you later.
Beautiful. Thanks so much, Virginia. I am so very excited for your future, and I'm very excited for our future because we're not stopping. We're going to keep going. We got reinforcements coming, and I'm excited for all of you to meet them as well. But I'll leave that for next time. But yeah, today we're gonna make some really delicious twice baked potatoes, potato bowls. There's a lot of different ways. I think the real big difference is with a twice baked potato, you're bisecting the potato, so you get more crispy bits. But with this, we're just going to sort of cut off the top here. We're just going to cut off the top and make more of a bowl. So I think that's really the big difference. You could definitely make this as a twice baked potato if you wanted, if you really like potato more. But the whole point is that you get a nice hearty bit of filling, and this whole potato is that's your meal basically. You can even pack it away in a little lunchbox if you want. So baked potatoes too. I don't know if you guys picked out. You want them to be pretty large and pretty tall. Sometimes russets can get pretty skinny. We want them nice and big. So as per usual, first thing I always do when I start a program is I tell you guys all about mise en place. So mise en place is one of the most important parts of having a successful kitchen. And what it means is everything in its place. And so I'm just going to give you a little tour, show you what's up. You can see I've got my cutting board down here, got my knife, got all the utensils I think I'm going to need. Sometimes, you don't really plan ahead, and that's fine. It's your kitchen. It's probably nothing. Everything is in a decent amount of spot. I've got one pan, deep pot. I think everything's going to fit in here. At least I hope so. Got a couple bowls, one for transferring the meat out of the pan, and then one for making our mashed potatoes. I got the tray. I've already preheated my oven. I put my oven to 400 because I'm going to try and hyper bake these things. They're all going to go in there really hot, so it shouldn't be problematic. But 350 is what you're going to want to do if you want a slower bake. I'm just going to see what happens if I go fast. I like going fast. And then obviously I've got all my ingredients. It's really simple today. We've really just got the meat. We got our potatoes, cabbage, carrots, butter, milk, and flour and garlic. It's probably one of the most simple recipes I've ever done. But that's okay because it's going to taste absolutely fabulous. A lot of the work was done for us on this corned beef when they corned it. There's also that spice packet in there we're going to use. And so between those two things, a lot of the flavoring work has already been done. And we really do want it to taste like a boiled dinner when we're done. We don't want it to be too over-seasoned, too sort of changed up and altered. You certainly can do that if you want to, throw some like paprika or cayenne in there, really like sort of amp it up. But the whole point of this is it should be fairly simple. It should remind you of eating a boiled dinner, but doing it in your hand, almost like a little hand roll, but it's a potato bowl. Awesome. So we're just going to jump right in. First things first, we're going to try and cook our meat. And to do that, we got to first take it out of our package. So I got a decent sized piece here. This one is 1¼ pound. Like I said, obviously it was hard to find corned beef in first part, but usually the tip will be a little bit smaller. This is the full sort of brisket roast flat, I guess is what they call it. But usually a tip is going to be a lot smaller. So if you're looking for something that's smaller, look for tips first. Yeah, so we're just going to open this up. We're going to rinse off a lot of the brine that's in there. If I was doing a boiled dinner, I just dump the whole thing in there. I like the brine. I know it's like slimy and stuff, but it's fine. There's a lot of seasoning in there. That's going to help season your vegetables. So I just dump it in there. But for this, we're using the meat. We don't want any of that. We're going to rinse it off. And then I'm going to make sure I save this spice packet as well. That's going to be really important for seasoning our dish. So just get a little slice right at the top. And we're just going to rinse it off. I'll be right back. It's really nice. It smells so good. Oh, I love corned beef. This is a really, really nice cut too. Oh my gosh. It is. This would be almost good to do like a like a barbecue. Corned beef isn't the same. I mean, it's the same cut, but it's been treated very differently than like a normal brisket. But you could still just like wrap this thing up, you know, grind up the spice packet, do a little dry rub. Obviously, don't put any salt on there. There's plenty of salt in corned beef, but do a little like dry rub and wrap this in tinfoil. Put it in the oven really low, and almost do like a barbecue brisket, or grill it even. Because I mean, like this piece is like perfect. Look at that, the fat on top and the meat, like slow roast this or smoke it. Like I know it's, you know, it's corn, so it's going to be a different experience, but you can still smoke corned beef. Nothing wrong with that. You know, it tastes really, really good. It's just not going to be, you know, normal beef brisket. Sweet. So we got that there. We do not want tons of the fat from the top. This fat is really good. I wouldn't throw it away, but we're going more for the meat for this dish. We really want it to be pretty hearty. We're going to use a little bit of the fat, but I'm going to cut most of the fat off and just save it, reserve it. Use it for you know, boiling veggies if you want. Just toss it in your next pot of sort of boiled veggies, and it'll really sort of like spice them up a little bit, get a lot of salt in there and a little bit extra flavor. So we're just going to cap that off. I think the easiest way is to just sort of put it here on this flat side and just go right at it. And I'm going to save everything I don't use because, like I said, you know, you can use that to make like a hash in the morning too. You know, like render down the fat and then cook your potatoes in the fat. That'd be a really good corned beef hash. So you're just trying to shave off as little bit of the meat as possible with that. It's okay if some of the fat's left behind. Like I said, we do want some fat. We just don't want all of that fat. I think that's too much. Plus, I know this is, you know, a much bigger cut than I wanted originally. So I'm actually going to trim off a piece like there, and we're just going to save that for another time. And that's about a pound. You know, it's cool. It just needs to be a little bit less than a pound. It's probably going to be too much filling, but I do have 6 potatoes I'm going to cook just because I'm not sure. You know, I don't want to like bust through one of them and just not have the full sort of experience. Granted, you know, it's just me, so it's not like it'd be a problem, but I just like how it looks with 4 of them. So I got 6. They're so cheap, it didn't matter. So we got our corned beef here. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to cube it a little bit so that it's easier for our food processor to handle it. So I'm cutting against the grain first. If you were going to grill this too, this would be a really good way. Like, you know, I'm a big fan of using corned beef in ways that it's not normally used. But this would be a cut you'd want to use if you were going to grill this. That way you sort of cut corned beef, you know, brisket in general is usually cooked for a very slow time. So it breaks down. But if you cut the grain into short pieces, it's going to be more tender in the first place. So you could actually just grill that just as it is. It'll still be a little tough, but it's really actually good on the grill. I'm a big fan of corned beef on the grill. It's kind of an anti. Don't tell any of my chefs or anything like that, but I like it when it's got a little bit of bite to it, and the grill just gives it such nice flavor. It's so beautifully salty. It's almost like a condiment almost. You know, you eat it with some of your grilled veggies as just like a way to sort of season them, and it gives you some nice texture in your mouth. So we're just gonna cut this into big cubes because we are gonna put this in the food processor, so it's gonna get you know, chunked up pretty well without us. If you know, you were feeling up for it, you could just chop this yourself. I know that's like, I mean, food processors are super useful, but if you had a big cleaver or something, you just go to town on this and grind it that way. But I have a mechanical advantage, so I'm going to use it. So I'm going to go put that in my food processor right now. And you know, I changed my mind. I'm gonna put this last piece in there too. I'm pretty sure that's enough meat. In fact, I know that's enough meat, but I'm not going to make hash. I know I'm not going to make hash. So I might as well just make more filling and have the filling available. But yeah, you know, this is just, if any of you who watch me before, you know that I'm often just like changing things up in the middle of the game. If I write a recipe for you all, but I don't often follow it myself. So, but that is the advantage of you know, just having fun in the kitchen. If you're not as sort of set up on what you expect for the results, you tend to have a lot better time. You know, if everything doesn't taste just how you expected it to, it probably still tastes pretty good if you follow some sort of basic strategies of seasoning and tasting your food as you go. So I'm going to turn this on. It's going to be pretty loud, but I'll be back in a sec. Cool. All right. So we wanted it pretty well ground. We do want it pretty chunky too. So just like sort of this side of a paste, you want it to have some texture, but you also do not want big chunks because again, corned beef isn't really the tenderest of meats. So the more you can cut that, those sort of tough bits up, the better you are going to end up. Let's go ahead and get our pan nice and hot. I'll scrape the rest of this corned beef out. And you can see it's kind of, I think you can see, yeah, you can see it. It's still pretty textured, you know, it's sticking together like a paste would, but there's definitely some chunks still in there, which I think is gonna be perfect once we cook this out. They're gonna end up being some nice little bits of sort of pleasurable texture while you eat it, because you know, nobody wants a potato filled with more paste. It just is it just gets awkward. So a potato filled with some really nice sort of textural and tasty experiences is what we're going for here. So that's looking about right. And this is about the same as we had for like meatballs too. You can see like it wants to stick together, but it's pretty easy to handle. So that's what you're kind of looking for as far as texture. It's nice. You could do anything with that. You could stuff. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to tell you guys. I got an idea for next March. I'm gonna have to wait a whole year for that one, but I already know what I'm making next year now. If you remember me talking last episode, you may have sort of caught on to what I'm getting at here. It's one of my new favorite things to cook. So pretty sure I mentioned it last time, but don't tell anybody. It's a secret. We are doing shepherd's pie bowls. So we are gonna stuff these potatoes with the corned beef and carrots and cabbage. It's a shepherd's pie bowl, but the flavor profile for the shepherd's pie is boiled dinner. So that's gonna be corned beef, cabbage, and carrots instead of the classic beef with peas, carrots, and onions. So it's gonna be a lot more simple. This is gonna be our basic seasoning here, the seasoning pack that comes with the corned beef. And so yeah, it's kind of like a little play for the holiday on a classic. And then it's double play because not only are we, you know, changing up the ingredients, we're also doing it in kind of a unique way by doing the potato bowl. So, but yeah, it is a shepherd's pie. It's just that the filling is not classic. It is a modified version. Right, this is getting nice and hot. I'm just gonna put a little oil in there, just because I did take some of the fat off and just don't want. I want it to stick. We kind of want it to stick because we're gonna put the carrots and cabbage in there and scrape all that off eventually. But I also, you know, I don't want it to stick so bad that I don't even have any meat left. So that's good. That's actually really, really hot. Awesome. In we go. Whoops. Don't cook it on the outside of the pan. Oh, yeah. Now we're cooking. So just spread it out all over the bottom of your pan. It'll lower the temperature of your pan pretty quick. And then just let it sort of brown for a second. And then we're going to scrape it. We're going to stir it. We're going to turn it. Make sure it all gets brown, a little rendered out of the fat in there. A lot of fat and moisture, especially in corned beef. So while we're doing that, we're just going to, I'm actually going to turn off the heat. For those of you who don't know, my stove is broken. It only has on and off. So I'm doing this kind of like I would if I was cooking on a hearth. I'm just, you know, putting it on the heat when I can, and then when it gets too hot, I'm turning down the heat, and I'm letting it sort of just use its residual cooking because I do have electrics. So very similar to hearth cooking, where you'd put it on the fire, move it closer to or away from the fire to control your temperature, or take it off entirely if you're using like a cast iron and let the residual heat from your pan finish the cooking. So we're going to start with the carrots because they're going to go in there first, just because they take longest to cook. I'm probably doing too much carrots. I asked for about a cup. But again, I probably have a little bit more meat than you know, the less than a pound that I asked for or talked about. So I'm going to do probably like a cup and a quarter. I do have a half cup measure here, probably one of my most favorite measures because you can do so much with it. It's really good for measuring a quarter or two. And I'm just doing the sort of plank and stick method here. That's what I call these. I'm sure it's called something else, julienne or something like that. But if you saw, I cut some planks of carrots. I'll show you again on this one. I'm cutting planks of carrots, depending on the size, that tells you how many you want to cut. And you take the piece out, and so you have a nice flat surface to work with. And then from there, you're going to cut sticks. And then once you have your sticks, you can come over here and make your dice. And, you can cut these sticks smaller if you want to. You can cut them bigger based off sort of what you like. And I probably should say corned beef doesn't really brown. It kind of pinks. When you cook it, all the corn and the cure sort of turns the meat like a really bright pink color. It's, I'm sure you guys have seen it after a boiled dinner. Like you cut the meat, it's been cooking for like 20 hours or something crazy, and it's still this bright pink, almost like it's raw. And that's just the cure. It's part of sort of the process. And but yeah, so it's not really going to brown so much in the pan. It is just going to sort of pink. But what we're looking for over here is there's quite a lot of moisture in there, and so we're just trying to cook some of that off and get a nice sort of fond or foundation in the bottom of the pan if possible. There definitely is quite a lot of moisture though, so we might not get that. Like I said, this is all most of my sort of recipes are a little bit experimental. So if this starts to get cooked and there's still quite a lot of moisture in there, I'll just save the moisture. That's going to make a really good gravy for us for our bowls, and the onions and carrots, or the carrots and I've already missed this. I've already missed a step with the garlic, but that's okay. What we're going to do, I think I'm already modifying this. So what we're going to do is, because there's so much moisture in this, which I honestly had not accounted for, but hey, that's how you learn. What I'm going to do is I'm going to brown our garlic with the vegetables. That's going to be my first step, and that's going to give us a little bit of fond on the bottom of the pan, which will help us with flavoring. So modify the recipe a little bit. Sorry about that. I've been doing that a lot lately. All right, yeah. So this is probably the right amount of carrots. I'm just going to stick with that. Save these guys for snacks, or maybe carrot sticks. Send them away in lunch. So we're good to go. I'm going to turn this back on because that is getting cold again. And here we're going to go into the cabbage. So cabbage, you kind of want to find where one of the leaves sort of comes over, and you're going to sort of draw a line right down the cabbage there. That's where you're going to cut it in half. And I basically just like to do that because that's usually a natural sort of like point where the leaves tend to keep matching, and so you won't end up with as much sort of weird half bits. And I'll probably only use half this head tonight. So what I did is I halved it, and then you're going to want to quarter it right down the stem, and then almost like coring an apple, you're going to come in here at an angle and just cut out the core of the cabbage. Do that again over here. Beautiful. Awesome. And then you've also got a nice little flat point where you can put it on, which is really great. And so what you're going to do is you want cubes just like this, but I'm actually going to cut my garlic first because that is going in the pan next. So garlic's pretty simple. There's a lot of different ways to cut it up. Some people like to put it in metal bowls and shake it up. Some people like to just buy pre-processed garlic, which is totally fine. I love bulbs. They smell so good. They're so sticky too. The best way to break it up though is you put the root end up towards you. You get the stem down on the table, and what you're going to do is you're going to just sort of push on it with all your might. And this one's a little floppy. With a better garlic, this one sort of broke apart. The stem will act as a lever, and it'll pop the clove completely open. Let's see if we can. There we go. Still get it. And you're just going to take all your cloves out there. And we're using about 2 tablespoons. Anybody who knows me knows that I love garlic more than pretty much any other part of my meal. I would just eat garlic saute for dinner. I think I would be totally happy with that. So we're going to put this whole bulb in. But use as much as you want. That's generally the best idea when you're cooking, is use what you like. If the recipe says put this much in and you think that's too much, then put as much as you want in. Don't let any recipe tell you what to do. That is not the way cooking works. You're cooking for yourself or your friends and your own nourishment. So do what you like, and damn everybody else. So I'm putting a whole bulb of garlic in because I freaking love garlic. And it's going to taste good. Like, let's be honest. It's also really good for you, So we're just going to peel these up. What I was doing there is I was using the flat end of my knife to just crush the garlic. Do make sure when you're doing that, you don't hold it like this. You want to keep your fingers away so that if it does slip, you don't cut yourself. That is an ultimate tragedy in the kitchen when you cut yourself, and it's just, nobody wants to do that. So it's always best to just try and prevent that before it happens by using proper practices, proper cutting techniques. All right, yeah, this cabbage, this meat's going really good. There is too much moisture in there, so I'm just going to take it out of the pan. I'm going to turn the heat off for now. I'm just going to take it out of the pan, and we'll save it for later. But as you can see, it's sort of It's sort of got these nice little crumbles. You know, it's not a complete paste. It has formed something that is going to give us some really nice texture later when we go to fill up these bowls. But yeah, you know, this is what happens when you don't always test. Sometimes I test my recipes beforehand. Sometimes I just sort of know it's going to taste good. Like I know these flavor profiles really well, and I know we're making sort of a gravy-based dish, so I wasn't too caught up on the potentials of, you know, having a really nice, you know, sort of browned meat flavor. And we're going to get a brown garlic flavor instead, so it's going to be okay. We're going to be just fine on the flavor department. If you were using normal ground beef right now, though, you'd likely have a lot more sort of stuck bits and brown parts on the bottom, and those you'd want to keep in there. That's what's called the fond or the foundation. It makes for really good soups as well. And we basically pull that all up with the carrots, the water from the carrots and the cabbage. So I'm just going to dump this off in my little bowl over here. Nice. And we're going to crank this back up, and we're going to brown our garlic off. So browning garlic is a really fabulous technique for adding flavor. Just like the fond, it's a Maillard reaction. So that's your proteins and stuff just turning into sugars. It's what turns food brown. It's really just like, it is one of the most flavorful things. It's why people really like grill marks, why people like grilling in the first place, is that reaction that basically just creates what they call umami. So I'm just sort of cutting this free form. Just make sure you keep your fingers out of the way. You can cut it in smaller pieces if you're worried, but I've cut a lot of garlic in my time, so I just kind of go for it. But yeah, just keep your fingers out of the way and you'll be fine. And you don't really need them to be small or super minced. You know, you want some texture, and nothing's better, for me at least, than taking a bite and getting a nice big piece of garlic in there. So we're just going to use a little more oil again, just so the garlic doesn't stick too bad. Beautiful. We're going to go right in the pan. Ooh, that smells good. Ooh, immediately. That's why I love garlic. That. You don't want it to burn. You do want it to be brown and not burned, and you'll be good to go. All right, everything looking good. So we're going to pop back in on the cabbage here. All right, so you got these cabbages quartered and cored. So now you're going to cut them. You want them to be about the same size as your carrots. So you're going to cut strips that are about the same size as your carrots, give or take. You know, I mean, it's close. And we're going to do that almost like you're cutting an onion. It's very similar technique. Whoops. Ooh. So you got to pay attention. I almost forgot about my garlic. I was getting all in the groove. Oh, that smells so good. So just do that one more time. Try not to forget this time. Get it nice and brown. You do not want to burn your garlic. There are many things that taste good burned. Garlic is not one of them. It tastes so bitter and horrible. I mean, it's not like inedible. You can definitely still eat it, but it is not an ideal situation. So we're going to go ahead and toss our carrots in there so we don't burn our garlic. It'll help to lower the temperature, which is nice. And again, if you guys at home who have normal stoves, you can just turn your heat down. I've kind of developed my own sort of new methods to deal with all of this this fun sort of experience. And you can see, actually, it's really nice. My high heat has created this. I basically burned the leftover liquids that were still in there. So that's going to be our new pond, or our fond, really. That sort of salty juice is going to dissolve back into the liquid that releases from the cabbage and the carrots, and that's going to be a really nice flavor. So at the end, we got some fond anyways, which is really nice. Just chopping these as small as you like. And again, it's kind of a rustic dish, so it's not the end of the world if there's big chunks of cabbage in there. Let's see. That's probably about right, actually. I might cut like a little bit more off, just because cabbage is going to wilt down pretty heavy. You know, so even though I'm measuring a cup, I really want to measure like a squished down cup, and so I'm just going to cut a little bit more. Perfect. So as you saw, I just took that off the heat like I would if I was working on a hearth, just because it was starting to get a little bit too hot for my liking. Get myself some water. All right, so at this point, we're getting fairly close to our filling being cooked. And so realistically, in the best situation, you would have started baking your potatoes. I should have mentioned that when we started, my bad. The best thing you want to do is you want to have started your potatoes in the oven quite a while ago, and they'd be hopefully coming out in about 10 minutes from now. I did not have the luxury of that today since I was working, so we're going to do the one of the best hacks ever invented by technology, which is the microwave. So I have a potato setting in my microwave. Realistically, they take usually about 5 minutes times 2. So you want to do 5 minutes, flip them, and then do another 5 minutes. I'm just going to poke them and then put them in on the potato setting, and they usually turn out perfect. So I'm going to do that right now so that they'll be very, very hot and ready to go as soon as our filling is done. And we can just scoop the potatoes out while it's nice and hot, make our mashed potatoes, and fill them all at the same time. You want it to be really, really hot when you're doing it. That way it sort of melts the butter and creams up really easily. So we're just gonna poke, poke, poke. And we'll use this same fork later to actually make the mashed potatoes. I really like mashing with a fork. I think it leaves a lot of nice texture in there. All right, great. So in the microwave. And potato. Wow, it senses potatoes. Okay, I've never actually cooked with this microwave before. I'm a little worried because it said 1 to 4 potatoes. So I'm going to go ahead and just put 4 in there, and we're just going to believe that I'm not going to mess one up. Oh, yeah. All right, so carrots are starting to get soft. I'll go ahead and put my cabbage in there, and that's really going to release a lot of moisture, which is going to, again, help us get that fond off. Carrots have a lot of moisture in there, but they tend to kind of hold on to it. They don't really release a lot. Cabbage, on the other hand, releases tons. So it's going to be really good for helping us to get the fond off the bottom of this pan. Because it's just sugars, right? And so sugars dissolve in water pretty easily. And so that is what we're going for. Get a little bit of water out here. And this will also start to help us sort of make our gravy that we're going to use. Absolutely beautiful. Turn that on again. Awesome. So I did not use those potatoes, didn't use that. That's great. So we're gonna go ahead and get our spice packet ready. Still says sensing. I don't know what it's doing, but we're just gonna go for it. I should have probably tested more of these things, but hey, you know, we're cooking with fire. Worst case scenario, I'm just going to I'm gonna just turn it on high. So I got my spice packet in there. That is coriander, mustard seed, bay leaf, dill, I think is in there too, and a little bit of hot pepper. And I'm just gonna crush that up into a nice powder. And that's what we're gonna use for our seasoning. Oh yeah. Now, I have a mortar and pestle. If you don't have one, you could have put this in with the meat originally in the food processor, or let's see, what else could you have done? You could have, you can just like chop it in a little spice grinder if you got one, or a coffee grinder. You can also just put it in there whole. It's not going to really hurt anything. It just is going to be much more intense if you do it like this in a grinder. You want to pop those seeds. Mustard is pretty notoriously hard to crack though, so you might still have some whole pieces in there, even if you do have a mortar and pestle. I got a lot of faith in this microwave right now. It's weird. Usually when I do potato in microwave, or my old microwave at least, it would tell me how much time it was going to take. This one just says sensing. Very sensitive. All right, sweet. So we've got our spices all nice and ground up there. Pretty beautiful. Those will be perfect for seasoning our meat and vegetables. Oh yeah, let's turn this off. This thing is so hot. Actually going to hit this with a little bit of water right now. My cabbage isn't really releasing as much moisture as I wanted, so I'm just going to help it out a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Now it's off. And a lot of that is I didn't add any extra salt, so salt is really good for sort of getting vegetables to release their moisture, macerate them, if you will. Although that's usually with sugar, but even when you macerate, a little bit of salt can really do wonders. Perfect. Just that little bit of water. We are going to put water in here anyways to make our gravy, so putting in some now is not a big problem. That really helps me to just scrape off all that fond from the bottom. And now it's all in with my veggies being tasty. And the color has already changed to be much, much deeper. Carrots are getting soft. You just want to cook them so they're almost completely soft. We do want our stuffing to be basically completely cooked. We're really just going to put these in the oven later to brown them, add a little bit more flavor and sort of crisp up the skin on these potatoes. And in the meantime, I'm going to check the internet on my microwave. If you guys have any questions, now's a good time. This is why the oven is definitely the preferred method for cooking potatoes. But when you're short on time, sometimes you just got to do what you got. Huh. Fun. So it's saying sensing because it's just sensing how much moisture is being released from the potatoes. And so it doesn't know when they're going to be done. It only knows when they are done. So that's fun. It's like a gambit. So we're gonna just wait. I imagine it can't take more than 10 minutes, right? That's how long it would normally take. So we've sort of gone into the unknown this episode. So I hope everybody's prepared to follow me into the dark, as they say in the song. It's going to be a good time. I guarantee it. It's worth it. You certainly look like you'll get cooked. In the meantime, we'll just keep working on our filling. All right, awesome. So these carrots are cooking down right now. Turn my heat back on, get them finished up. They are almost done. My cabbage is just a little bit crispy. That piece is getting pretty much done. That piece is still a little crispy. So we want to cook a little bit longer. Again, we really want the filling to be completely cooked. We're not really cooking these in the oven. We're just finishing them in the oven. Okay. Put that spice mix in there now. beautiful. Oh my gosh, that smells good. I'm gonna go for some black pepper too. This is an addition. I really like black pepper. I'm gonna put some in the mashed potatoes later too. I just really like black pepper. So I put it in pretty much everything. And again, at this stage, if you wanted to, you could put more salt in here. I would definitely wait till you have the full-on like gravied up finished product before you do that, just because that's going to really tell you if you know, if you need more salt, because again, the corned beef is pretty salty. So, oh yeah, that smells good. It smells like all those beautiful spices and herbs in there. Some cheese. One problem with cooking this way that I hadn't really considered before is I tend to be evaporating my liquid a lot faster than it is coming out of the vegetables. So I'm just adding a little bit of water in there as they start to get dry again. And you can usually tell because you'll start to get a little bit of fond back on the bottom again, as some of the sugars from the veggies also start to sort of burn and cook to the bottom. Well, not burn, but brown and cook to the bottom. And so just adding a little bit of water in there just to keep the moisture level up. I really thought the cabbage was gonna have a lot more in it. But hey, you know, it is winter storage cabbage, so that could be part of it. You know, summer cabbage is going to definitely have a lot more going on there. So that is looking pretty. Oh, nice. My potatoes are determining time now. That's really nice. Let's hope it doesn't say something stupid like half an hour. That'd be the ultimate insult. Like, okay, yeah, you're using this microwave to save time, and surprise. Really nice. I'm gonna put the meat back in. Maybe not just that, almost. Myself some more water. For this next step, we're gonna need a cup of water to make our gravy. I'm gonna get something to drink, and then leave a cup in here. Gravy, and I'm not worried too much about the water I put in there already. I had anticipated there being more water from the cabbage, so and that's all been cooking off, so we don't really have to account for that. See, I got a couple questions here. Ooh, I have not cooked with Grades of Paradise. That sounds great. If anybody wants to give me anything for Christmas, you know, I'm just playing. Please don't buy me gifts. I just appreciate your presence. Yeah, hey, thank you for coming. We really appreciate having people here to be a part of the program, Robin. It's really nice, you know. Everyone who shows up, everyone who cooks, it's like it really gives me great joy to like be at the library and have someone call and be like, "Oh, I cooked that thing!" Like, I think the Italian wedding soup has probably had the most positive feedback. If you haven't seen that one, definitely go back on YouTube and check it out. It is so good. Those meatballs are like heaven. So yeah, feel free to keep coming, please, please, please. I would love to keep cooking for you. So, thank you very much. We appreciate that. All right, I'm going in. I'm gonna try my cabbage one more time, see if there's any crunch. There's not. So we're going in with the meat again. Oh yeah, baby. Nice. Back on the heat. That just looks really good already. Oh yeah, just meat and cabbage and carrots. I mean, look at how beautiful that is. That's what I want. That's going right in our potatoes, almost exactly like that. So we are in a good place right now. I think if I did this again, what I would do is I would cook the vegetables first, and I get that nice fond from the vegetables, and then I put the ground corned beef in last. I really put it in first to try and get that fond, but it didn't really work out. I put the ground pork beef in last, and while it cooked, it would release all that liquid that we saw earlier. And that liquid is pretty salty, so that liquid would then get sucked into the vegetables and season them. And I think we'd have a much simpler process. So, you know, you learn. This is what happens when you have an experimental recipe instead of a tested one. But hey, so it goes. I think this is still going to be great. We just have one extra dish, basically. This is pretty much the only sort of inconvenience we ran into there. Great, so this is getting nice and warm. Awesome. I was all gung-ho about this potato in the microwave thing. I was like, this is going to be great. It's going to save me so much time. I won't have to like leave work early to go cook potatoes. But I don't know. This microwave is not the same as my old one. My old one was the best. You click potato, it was like 3 minutes or something like that. And the potato was done. But hey, you know, these are the lessons we learn. I definitely suggest baking it if you have the time. It takes about 50 minutes in an oven, 350, but it just is better. The skin is a lot. It almost sort of like releases a little bit from the potato, and it's just a really nice experience. So. Okay, great. I'm just going to do a little cleanup while. Oh, that's right. No, we got to finish this up. Flour. That's what I was going for. So we got some flour here. This is what we're going to use to thicken our gravy. We're going to cook the flour onto the vegetables first, and then we're going to put our liquid in there. So 2 tablespoons. We want a pretty thick gravy. We'll save that just in case we want to thicken it anymore. Turn my heat off. And it's going to almost immediately thicken whatever moisture you do have in there. It's all going to sort of stick to the veggies, but you want to cook the flour for as long as you can before it sort of starts to burn to the bottom of the pan. You're just trying to cook off the starch so it doesn't taste like flour later when we go to actually put it in there. Awesome. It's going to be kind of pasty. It's going to start to stick to the bottom again, but that's okay. We're going to put water in here, so we'll get it all right off. That looks really nice. Beautiful. Let's see. Cup of water. Turn the heat back on. And we're just going to cook this down until it forms a nice thick gravy. The recipe is kind of foolproof. You can only put too little water in. If you put too much in, just keep cooking until it gets thick. Or add more flour, you know, if you want it to be really gravy. But yeah, that's kind of the beauty of this is the flour sort of thickens up the gravy. And if you do have too much water, you just cook it down a little bit and it becomes about perfect. So we are using water instead of like stock or broth just because corned beef is so flavorful. And you certainly can use stock or broth. And you can definitely season this again at this point if you want to, but I have a feeling it's going to be pretty dang salty already just because it is corned beef. Corned beef kind of comes with its own seasoning. It's really beautiful like that. We are going to give it a try here in just a second and make sure that we are doing the right thing. And it just looks fabulous. Like, you see that through the fog? It's really beautiful. It's got a nice little gravy starting to form, and the chunks are just the right size. I feel like it's gonna be good. This microwave is stressing me out, friends. I gotta say, I should have just done the 5-minute method. So classically, if you don't have a potato button, again, it's 5 minutes on each side. But I feel like this is like already taken. They got like too fancy on it, and it's already taken more time than I would have anticipated. Take a little try for this. We're just trying for salt and spice, see if we want to add any more flavor. Again, it is going to have to season like a whole potato. So, oh, it's so good. Oh, woo! All right, I'm going to turn that off. That's perfect. Oh my gosh, yes. Woo! That's perfect. So it's very salty, not like a bad salty, just like, you know, it's corned beef. Oh, it tastes so good. The spice packet has just infused all of its flavor in there. It tastes like I'm eating New England boiled dinner. Oh my gosh, yes. I wish I had started these potatoes right when I started. I really didn't want them to like cool down, and I want them to be really hot. So I thought I'd be smart and sort of start them a little bit later. But I fully anticipated this taking 10 minutes at the longest. So we're gonna give a little bit of time. Maybe we'll have a little chat. Open up that Guinness we talked about earlier. Oh my gosh. This is really good filling. Whew. I'm gonna take it off the heat, let that hang out. We're just gonna get everything ready. I'm gonna do a little cleanup, make sure I'm ready for our next step. Got potato. You basically just, you're gonna need butter and milk for this next bit. Here. Hey, oh my gosh. Whew. That's what we like to call serendipity. When you don't plan anything and somehow, oh my gosh, somehow it works out perfectly. I was just started cleaning up, and the microwave said the potatoes are done. So that's what I like to, that's what I love. Awesome. I'm just eating a pear right now. So we're just gonna give those a second, just for the steam to sort of finish its job. That's cool. I gotta say that's I do wish there's a little more interaction with that. You have to send a message to KitchenAid or something. But let's take a peek. Oh yeah. Flip them over. I'll take a peek at this big one. Let's see how it looks. I might. Gosh, I hope it's done. So I'll just show you the method here. So you got your potato here. You're going to pick what you want to be your top. And the best way to do that is just put it on either side. Whichever one it sits flatter on, that's the one you want to be the bottom. So you're going to take the top, and you're just going to slice a nice little bit right off the top, and make a little sort of top bit here. Let's see, how does this? Ooh, it's still very hot in there. I'm not sure if that's as cooked as I want it to be. This is a welcome to the program of don't ever use a microwave to cook a potato. You know, you think something's going to be easier, and then you sort of end up in a situation where it's not. Let's go for it. Let's try and scoop this one and see what happens. I'll let the other ones. They're still steaming, right? So like it's going to cook more. The ones that are in there that I haven't opened yet are going to cook more as we go. So I got a feeling they're going to be about right when we're done. So get yourself a bowl. I'm going to raise this up a little bit here just so you can see what I'm doing. Awesome. And then you want a towel to hold your potato in because it's super hot, but you don't want the towel to get any of the food. And then basically you're just going to sort of start scraping it. Oh yeah, these are totally fine. I hope. It's going to be fine. I think the other one's got to be a little bit better than this. It does feel pretty hard still. Oh well, I have officially learned that my potato function does not work so well. But hey, you know, at least I know that now. This wants to go in there too. So what I'm doing is I am, could be because those potatoes are really big, maybe. I'm putting them in the oven or in the microwave for another 5 minutes. That should hopefully fix them up. So bear with me while we wait. This is definitely going to be more of a waiting episode than in the past. If anybody has any requests, perhaps I can cook something for you. Hit me up. I was thinking about what to put as a side with this, and it just doesn't feel like a side sort of dish. But you know what? Let's do it. I got an idea. dropping ice everywhere. Perfect. Peas. We talked about this a little bit earlier. I think since we have some spare time, we might as well go for it. I'm gonna make mushy peas. So mushy peas are a lot like mashed potatoes, except you use peas instead of potatoes. We've got all the ingredients we need right here. We got butter, we got peas. Let's do it. I just happen to have some frozen peas. Carrot snap, get in my way. So bonus recipe, we're gonna make mushy peas. So basically what we're gonna do is we're going to cook our peas down with a little bit of butter. We're gonna season them. Let's see, so, oh, those sound good, good. We've got our, our sort of like baked dinner seasonings in with our potato filling. And so for the peas, I think we're gonna do something a little bit more bright. So I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna hit them with a little bit of lemon juice at the end. Actually, I think I even have a lemon. Maybe we'll do like a lemon zest. Yeah, okay. So I'm just thinking about, we were talking earlier about things that might be to do with shepherd's pie, but kind of the idea behind shepherd's pie is that it's everything. It's all in one dish. Ooh, pickled red cabbage would be good. If I had any red cabbage, I would definitely do that. I can tell you about pickling red cabbage though. My preferred method for pickling anything is to cut it into the pieces I want and then salt it pretty liberally and let it sit on the counter for about an hour. Once the moisture's been drawn out, I don't even drain off the moisture. I just hit it with some white vinegar until it's just submerged, and then you're done. Usually you'd put a little bit of water in to curb the bite, but the water from the vegetables ends up sort of re-flavoring the vegetables with their own flavor. And it's just a really simple salt and vinegar brine. So I really like doing that. But yeah, Guinness for sure. Awesome. So we're gonna do a little lemony mush peas. I think again that acid that we were talking about from the vinegared cabbage is gonna be really good. So I'm just gonna squish my lemon here. That's gonna help me get all the juice out. And then I'm going to go ahead and take all the rind off. So we're gonna do garlic, and I think I've got. We're just working here. We're doing this is the best part about being in the kitchen with somebody who knows how to cook, is you can kind of just make it work most of the time. I thought I had like cheating garlic in here somewhere. Oh, I know what I got. Yeah, that's good stuff. Where'd it go? I just cleaned my fridge, and of course now I can't find anything, which is pretty classic. Ah, there it is. So we're going to use some cheating garlic, as I like to call it, which is the big old tub of minced garlic. So we're going to do garlic and lemon. We're going to cook it down with some butter, and I think at the end when we're mashing it, just like we were with potato, we're going to do with potatoes, we're going to hit it with a little bit of milk. Cream would be best for sure, but we're going to use milk because that's what we got. So I squished the lime or the lemon. That's gonna help me juice it later. But now I'm gonna I'm using a microplane to go ahead and get all the rind off of this. And I like to use this microplane. And you want to find out which way it cuts, which in this case is this way. And instead of rubbing it, I'm gonna pull off the rind instead. I find it works a lot better this way. I actually had a prep cook in a kitchen do that on accident, and I was like, wow, that's so much easier. And I never sort of looked back. Ooh, these potatoes are much more cooked. That's good. I'm gonna let them hang while I get this sort of started, and then we're gonna take them out and we're gonna do our thing. So I think we're good. I think we sort of saved the day with the potatoes. I should have just done 5 minutes twice. I don't know why I thought the potato button was gonna work, but hey, we're learning. So yeah, so you just pull the rind off like that, get a really nice zest. And yeah, this is a bonus recipe. This recipe will be on the YouTube page with the recipe that I've already given you guys. Sort of bonus edition. It's pretty simple. Mashed peas can't really be too hard, but it's just gonna be garlic and lemon, butter, and a little bit of milk, and that's gonna, I think, really be a nice sort of flavor. But we aren't gonna start on that. that's what we're gonna do while the potatoes are baking. We're gonna finish that dish. So awesome. Happy I had a little bit of first insight there. So let's try again with these potatoes. See if round 2 works better. Hot, 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 hot potato. Okay. You know, potatoes are crazy, man. I don't understand how they take so long to cook sometimes. Is this one still? It's crazy. I'm gonna go 3 more on those ones. Those ones might be cooking better. We're going for it. So yeah, so you're just gonna scoop it out. You want to leave. Again, this one's probably not the best indicator because it's not that well cooked. Oh yeah, okay. It's better when you get towards the edge, just a little bit in the beginning. So you want to try and scoop out as close to the edge as you can. But is that a good sight? Yeah, that's good. Okay, we'll go up a little bit more. But you don't want to. You want to leave some because you know you are going to put something liquid in here, and those potatoes are going to absorb that liquid and that flavor. So you want to leave a little bit of potato there to sort of act as a barrier, and also as just a nice little protective cup, and also just because it's going to taste good. You know, this dish is designed to have potatoes, carrots, and cabbage all in once. You know, so if there's no potato in the dish and only on top, you know, it's just not going to be as fun. So you want to scoop down into the ends too, and just make sure you leave enough that you know you should be able to see as you're getting closer to the edge. You might be able to see some light through there or something like that. Leave about you know, maybe a half an inch. I don't know, something like that. You can't really go wrong. Leave it as thick as you like. That's my first one right there. Not too shabby. Looks pretty good actually. We're just gonna pop that right on our sheet tray. These potatoes aren't that bad. They're like a little bit chunky, crispy, but that's okay. You know, you get a bite of potato. Not the worst thing in the world. I actually have one really weird friend from college when I was down in New Orleans that likes to eat potatoes raw, just like apples. It is the strangest little thing. So we're gonna do 2 tablespoons for the potatoes, and then we'll do a tablespoon to cook them in, and then maybe 1 more to finish the mushy peas. We'll leave it out just in case we decide we want more, but that should be perfect. All right, so the butter we're using here for the potatoes, we're just gonna cut into 8 cubes. So I'm gonna cut 1, 2, and 3. So we've got 8 nice pieces there. We can put them in a little bit at a time. I'm actually gonna put 2 in right now. While this first one's nice and hot, start the melting process. Get in there. Beautiful. I'm gonna put 1 in the bottom of this pan right here. I'm gonna cook my garlic in. Cool, I love it. Nothing like going by the seat of your pants, you know? What time is it? Ooh, we're already almost at 6. That's unfortunate, but that's okay. We had some bumpy stuff. We had some bumpy roads. Here we go. All right, cool. These potatoes are also done, so let's go ahead and get those started and get them rocking. So potato, potato, potato. Okay. So again, we're going to find the way that they sit best. That's going to be the bottom. That looks good. Then we're just going to cut the top off of them. This one actually sort of split, which is kind of crazy considering. There we go. Perfect. Ooh, super hot. All right. That's what I'm talking about. That's a cooked potato. I don't know what happened last time, but that's a cooked potato. We are in good shape on these ones. All right, let's go back over here, scoop these out. All right. Put you guys back up to the right level. We're just gonna scoop these, and it's much easier when the potato's cooked, obviously. Your spoon really just gets in there nice and easy. Lesson learned, don't use the potato setting on KitchenAid potato, KitchenAid microwaves. Just do the double 5 minutes, 2 times 5 minutes. That's never really done me wrong before, but I thought I'd be smart and use the potato setting. Not smart. All right, awesome. That one looks really nice. Do it again, and you just want to use the tip of your spoon and kind of like draw the outline of what you want. And then you can sort of work at carving the rest out as you go. Oh yeah. Beautiful. As you can see, it looks really nice in there. One more. Oh yeah. Oh, this is so good. And they're really nice and warm, which is good. It's going to make it really easy to mash these and make a really nice sort of mashed potato topping. All right, beautiful. Those are good to go. Ooh, hot. Now we're just going to get into our mashed potatoes here. We're going to put the rest of that butter in there. You're just going to use your fork and you're just going to sort of stir quickly. What that's going to do, a nice deep bowl if you have one. What that's going to do is going to release the steam. It's also going to start to sort of mash the potatoes up. First thing you're looking for is for the butter to be melted and incorporated. Once that happened, you're going to have them, they're going to start to be a little bit more tacky, which is what you want. Oh yeah, see, and I don't know if you noticed, but they started to sort of like tacky. Like I said, they started to come off the sides. This would be a really good place to also make like gnocchi or something. You can put a little bit of flour in there and make a gnocchi dough. But we're going to go the other way. We're going to put more liquid in, and we are going to make mashed potatoes. I'm just going to hit this with a little bit of milk, about a quarter cup to start. You can put it in slow, but honestly, it's so hot right now, it's going to go in really easily. And you just want to put enough milk in until they become nice and fluffy. And but you don't want them to be too wet, because we do want to be able to spread these on top. Sort of a good way to test that is to just like take up a little spoon and see if it sticks. But also you want it to look nice and fluffy. You can sort of tap it with your finger and see if you can mold it well, and you can. That's like perfect right now. So I'm just going to taste those. Tastes really good. I'm not going to put any salt in there. I'm going to put pepper in there though. And again, I'm not putting salt for me personally because I'm trying to do less salt in my life, but put as much salt in there as you want. Again, for me, pepper is going to be the jam in this, but you can definitely put salt in there. And the filling is pretty salty, so like I don't think it really is necessary to put any in here. That's enough pepper though. And we're just gonna flip, flip, flip. Perfect. Mashed potatoes done. So good. Oh my god, I love mashed potatoes. And you could have put garlic in there. You could put so many other things in there if you wanted to. Put this stuff to the side, and you got these little tops here too. These are really nice for breakfast. Cool them, and then in the morning, just fry them skin side down in a little bit of butter with like some cracked eggs and bacon or something like that. That's an awesome little breakfast cracker kind of thing. All right, cool. So we're going to go ahead and fill these up and then top them. So let's get that as sort of main stage here. All right. So all of our beautiful little potato bowls, our amazing gravy stuffing. Awesome. I'm gonna get a nice big spoon. And we're just gonna go to town. Stuff them as full as possible. Make sure that angle is good. There we go. That's the angle we're looking for. So I'm just doing 1 spoon per. I'm pretty sure I have enough filling for all of these, but just if I didn't know that, this would be a good way to make sure I get as much filling, or at least an even amount of filling in each one as possible. But I got plenty of filling, so this is going to be just fine. Just use the tip of your spoon to sort of push it down in there. That's going to make it so it's nice and gentle. It doesn't break the side of the bowl. If you go flat, you can sometimes have it like sort of explode. So tip of the spoon will also get it nice into the corners real easy. Oh my gosh, yeah. And we want to fill them right up to the top. Perfect. Get that all in there, nice and good. Beautiful. All right, maybe just a little bit more in this one, right into that corner. Make sure you get it right into the corners. You know, you don't want to miss anything inside there. Oh, that feeling is so good. And we're gonna come back here with our mashed potato. We're just gonna take a nice little plop right on top. You could pipe it if you want to. I don't have a piping bag, but it definitely it's really nice and fun, and it gives a lot of really nice edges, which is cool. But we're just going to do a little bit of a swirl kind of once we get this on top. All right, so we're just going to sort of spread that out so it covers up the filling, makes a nice little pocket, and you can put more on if you want. In fact, I might put more on this one. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That is a beautiful thing. So now that those are all full, we're just gonna kind of take our spoon like this and we're just gonna do like a kind of like a swirl. You're basically trying to just make little like ridges. I did not do very good at that this time. But you're just trying to make little pieces that are going to brown, little edges. You know, you want to have edges, and it might actually be easier to just kind of leave it the way it is. Yeah, perfect. There we go. I ended up smoothing it with the swirl instead. So there we go, guys. That's the potatoes. I'm gonna go ahead and pop them in the oven. Take a look at those. They're beautiful. Oh yeah. Okay, those guys are just gonna go to town. Okay, so I was gonna make some mushy peas, but I'm realizing that it is 6 o'clock already. So I did get a new cat. That's Biscuit, you saw. So it's 6 o'clock. Does everybody want me to keep going until these potatoes are done? I can make the mushy peas, or does everybody feel comfortable with that? I just don't want to run late on anybody. I didn't even realize it was 6 o'clock already. So I'm gonna go mushy peas unless anybody says no.
Let's go with the mushy peas.
All right, let's do it. Sweet. We're getting in there. All right, so mushy peas. Beautiful. So that's in the oven. That's going to get nice and brown. We're going to make some mushy peas. So we've got butter in the pan that's already melted, which is nice. That's why I put it in there earlier. We're going to turn the heat back on here, and we're going to get some of our cheating garlic. And we're going to go for, because it's me, we're going to go for a full tablespoon. But anything you feel comfortable with. I'd say probably a teaspoon makes sense for normal people, but I don't know how to be normal when it comes to garlic. All right, awesome. We're just gonna cut our lemon while we're here. Nice, that's perfect. I'm gonna juice the lemon into my my half cup here, just so I can make sure I get any of the seeds out. I really don't want seeds in in with my mushy peas. That's crunchy peas, not mushy peas. All right, butter's getting hot. We're gonna put our garlic in there. And the trick with mushy peas is just cooking the crap out of them. Peas have like a little bit of a skin to them, so that's gonna be what gives us our texture. But we do want to have we want it to be mushed. We want it to be complete mash. And so the best way to do that is just to cook them really, really hard for a good while. And so that's what we're gonna do. Awesome. So that garlic's getting nice and brown. And the peas are nice. Frozen peas especially, they have a lot of moisture trapped in them, which is going to help us. Hopefully they have moisture trapped in them this time. It's going to really help us with the whole sort of process of keeping them cooking in something, because you don't want to cook peas in a dry pan. That's just going to end up with burnt peas. You do really want some sort of liquid in there. We might end up putting a little milk in. Probably not. Milk doesn't tend to cook very well on high heat. It'll break. But we can also put a little water in there, because again, that's going to cook off as we cook. And when it gets the right texture, we can just go to town. Awesome. Ooh, that looks so good. Garlic's getting nice and brown. I'm going to go ahead and put my peas in. I'm doing the whole pack of peas. I think that's a pound. That's my oven. 13 ounces, so almost a pound. Pound is 16 ounces, just in case you did not know. Awesome. Okay, I'm just gonna put a little water in there just because I know this is gonna be a pain if I don't. And we're just gonna go. We're gonna cook it on high until that water basically is cooked off, and the peas are complete and utter mush. With fresh peas, this is a lot harder because you're basically cooking them from completely raw, but frozen peas tend to have a little bit of a blanch on them sometimes. So this should take like barely any time at all. Once that gets up to temperature again, it starts to boil, or they're just gonna be completely and utterly beautiful. So what I'm gonna do is I have a little tiny strainer, which I really like. So I'm just gonna use that. I'm gonna pour the lemon juice in and get the seeds out that way. So that'll be nice. I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. I usually would put lemon juice in at the end. I don't really like cooked lemon juice as much as raw lemon juice. It tends to sort of lose a little bit of its oomph. But because we have the lemon zest this time around, I actually want the lemon juice to lose a little bit of its oomph. I want it to be in there to also help the peas stay really nice and bright and green. That extra acid is going to stop them from oxidizing. They're frozen peas, so they probably won't oxidize anyways. But if it was like fresh peas, for sure, that'd be like a very essential part of the process. All right, good. These already look good. I mean, I just love peas in general, so these are going to be absolutely delicious. Once they get to a boil, they're just going to go real hard. And so I got enough filling. I probably could have done the other 2 potatoes too, but then we would have been waiting still even longer. But save that. What you can do is takes a little bit of the mashed potatoes. Actually, let's see. Just while we're here, let's see if we can actually put it together. I love experimenting, so like this is always good. You can make like a gnocchi dough with your potatoes, almost like you're doing like a dumpling. This might be cold enough. We can just do it right now. Let's see what happens. It's a little bit warm, but if you put some flour in this, it's going to be a lot easier to handle. And you just make a little patty like that, right? Make a little dumpling center, and just put the meat right in there and sort of wrap it around. It's not going to work because I didn't put any flour in here, but if I had put flour in here, they'd make a little almost like a dough. You could put the stuffing in there and then boil them like a drop dumpling in water or broth. And then we're back to New England boiled dinner. Maybe I should have done that. Anyways, we got all sorts of fun things you can do. I'm just gonna eat this up because it's a nice little snack. That filling is so good. You can put that in anything. All right. All right, why are you not heating up? I figured this would be boiling by now. This burner is so hot, but I guess they were frozen. I am going to put a little bit of salt in these just because these don't really have any salt in them. It'll really help the flavors come out. Just so you know, that was probably about a 1/4 cup of water, just in case you just happen to have frozen peas and are trying to follow along with me on this most chaotic of episodes. It's been this long with like really calm, relaxed episodes. I think it's about time we had one like this. So I'm actually kind of happy that it happened this way. Yes, that is a good point. Upping the amount of something that is nice and flavorful. I mean, you can see there's lots of heat going into it. It's not dancing like that for no reason. That's just the heat trying to escape from the pan. And yes, just to answer, I know Atsuku's not here anymore, but it will definitely be on the YouTube page. I'll hopefully get it up this weekend, maybe Saturday. So definitely look out for that. If you do have to go, by all means, we will get into mushy peas and the great reveal of the baked potato bowls when that happens. All right, come on, baby, boil for me. know why I'm turning up my heat like it's going to change anything. Well, you know what I should do? It's fine. It's fine. No problems. There we go. Just have to be patient. Watch pots do boil. You just have to, wait for them. Again, this is just like already done. Like you can just eat this as a side, lemon peas. Actually, just make sure my seasoning is good. Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't even put anything in there. I mean, I guess I did. I put garlic and lemon juice, but like, that's really good already. Oh, so tasty. And they're nice and soft, which is what I was hoping. So they'll get to the mushy stage pretty quick. We could even mush them right now if we needed to, but I think it's gonna be better if we wait a little bit. Yeah, one way to sort of speed this process along is to just get them heated up like this, and then just put them in the food processor like we did with the meat earlier, and blend them up. But it gets too smooth. I really like sort of mashing them by hand. You tend to end up with a lot more sort of chunks from the skin, whereas like the blade from the Roboku or the food processor will often sort of cut up the skins, and that's one of the best parts for me about mushy peas is that sort of skin texture. I really like skins. That's again, if you watch my programs, I absolutely love skin. I'm a big fan of skin on potatoes, skin on carrots, skin on beets, pretty much anything that has skin. I generally want to eat that skin. It's got a lot of nutrients in it, and it also has a lot of fiber and texture. And I'm a big fan of texture. Good enough. So I'm just cleaning up as I sort of go. It usually makes life easier if you can do that for yourself. Pick up some of this ice I missed earlier. Got an ice explosion. Oh, there's another one. Surprised my cat's not going after it. All right, beautiful. We are starting to get into rolling boil territory here, which is good. And they're going to lose some of their color. It's just what it is. When you cook any green vegetable this hard, it starts to get a little bit brown. Oh yeah. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Beautiful. Let's see if we got any more questions. So yeah, so pretty excited about how these are going to taste as like a completed dish. Having tried all the different pieces individually, I can tell that this is going to be a great success. But there's always something a little bit special about sort of having it as a finished dish. Like with shrimp and grits last time, the shrimp obviously were absolutely delicious on their own. The grits are just grits. I didn't put anything in them, so they tasted like grits, which is what we wanted. And the sauce is just so good. But when you put them together and you have that like perfect bite with like the grits and then like that sauce just sort of like over the top of it, and you get a nice piece of shrimp too, and it all sort of works together. It's just a different experience. It's like you've had, the sum is greater than the parts kind of experience. And so I really love that aspect of the whole thing. Let's see if I can go grab my cat to entertain everybody while we cook these peas down and wait for our potatoes. Oh yeah, they're looking good. Hello, kitten. Would you like to be on TV? So this is Sweet Potato Biscuit. She's a kitten and she's very cute. She's a tortie and she loves food more than anything. She's probably going to ask me for corned beef later. She's really well behaved and she loves us, which is nice. But if you guys like cats, this is now the cat moment. She's absolutely beautiful. Hello, kitten. She can't even tell that she's on TV right now. That she doesn't really care for reflections or TV. I know a lot of cats like to watch birds and stuff on TV, but her pretty much only cares are the butter that is directly across from her that she wants to put in her mouth, and then kibble. Those are her biggest things. But she's actually being very well.
Cute.
Super new.
She's cute, I said.
Oh yeah,
Well,
she's
yeah, I know she's new. I was shocked when she walked by in the back that I hadn't heard anything about her yet.
what a good girl. All right, you can go back to your life now. Good girl. She's like, where's my treat? All right, these mushy peas are really going to town right now, so that's good. And you can sort of test them as they go by just taking them and sort of smushing them against the side. That'll actually help to sort of get us to the mushy part of mushy peas faster. Because again, these are pretty much entirely cooked, so you really just need to pop the skins, almost like if you're making like a cranberry sauce. Ooh. This is almost too flat. I think this might be better. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. So we're just stirring, and as we stir, we mush up against the side. And as we go, we'll eventually sort of pop all, if not most of them. And the little inside, starchy insides of the peas will get mixed in. We'll get something that resembles mushy peas, hopefully. We usually do this with fresh peas, so I gotta say I'm not yeah, you know, it's all experimental. Tonight is the night of experiments, and we are loving it. I do wish I had a Guinness right now, though. I feel like I'd be a little bit more relaxed. I mean, not to say I'm not relaxed, but I'm very much making sure. I want to make sure I make some dang good peas here. So the end is always worth the process, even if we just learn something. Come on, little peas. Into the bottom like that. I've moved my method to jamming the peas, or just some sort of mashing them with a larger spoon. The other one's kind of a lower profile. This one's got a nice thick edge to it, and so I'm just mashing them with that, and that's working really good. I got a lot of broken pea pods in here, which is nice. So we're looking for. Yeah, baby. Still quite a lot of whole peas in here. I think that's honestly because I am using frozen peas. Fresh peas tend to have a lot more starch in them, and they're also just bigger. So when you do something like this, you know, you get a little bit more texture to them, and that helps with the mashing. These peas are kind of doing the whole like escape from me thing, where I try to mush them and they go, no, not me, haha. Well, that's actually working really good too. I'm mushing them on the bottom now with the back of my spoon. And normally I'd be doing this in like a big bowl. I'd cook them as much as I knew they wanted to be cooked, and then I'd do it in a bowl. But we're working in kind of a situation where I've got this extra moisture in there, so I want to make sure I'm mashing them as I cook them, so I know when I'm done and when the texture is going to be right. But you know, I mean, they're going to be good no matter what. They're going to be mashed peas. Absolutely delicious looking. Oh my gosh, yes, we're definitely getting there. They're still pretty solidly not mushy peas, but they are getting there. My cat absolutely loves dice and chocolate kisses. She doesn't eat them, thank God, but she just like loves playing with dice and chocolate kisses. I'm a gamer in my other life, so I think she must take after me in that regard. Might actually transfer these to a bowl once the liquid gets lower and just go to town. Looking nice and good. And I think our timer's about to go off too. So we are perfect timing. What I'm gonna do actually, they don't have as much starch, like I said. So I'm actually gonna hit them with a little bit of the leftover potato. Just to act as kind of a binder. Like fresh peas usually have a lot more starch to them. So they tend to be like a lot more like a paste at this point, but these ones are not really doing it because they are frozen. And so, yeah, well, that did it. That's the move. Just that little bit of potato in there to sort of act as a starch. We already now have something that is much more mashed pea looking. All right, because they were all broken and it just wasn't doing the thing that it usually does, whereas like it kind of it's almost like a paste, and so we cheated, which is what it is. So I just put another tablespoon of butter in there just to finish it off. Oh yeah, you got an 8. Good girl, Kitty. And so now it looks a little bit more like a mashed pea. Hopefully I can show it to you. There we go. A lot more like mushy peas now, whereas before it was just still kind of like soupy peas. But yeah, a little bit of starch will do the job. And you could have used like some flour or some cornstarch too if you wanted to. But honestly, we had the leftover mashed potatoes, so why not? Beautiful. Let's check the oven. Hopefully we got some really nice crispy bits on the top. Oh yeah. Nice. That's what I'm talking about. Oh. So I got a nice little potato there. You can see the tops have got these nice little like crispy bits right there. That's what I was talking about with trying to make as many like tips as you could. And that's why piping is really nice, because you get really thin tips and they all get beautiful and cooked. But that's going to be good enough for us tonight. We're just going to grab a nice little plate here, something simple. Nice little rooster one I kind of like. And we're just going to do, we're going to put our lemon zest into our peas. Finish those off. You want to put that right in at the last moment. So it's nice and fresh and kind of brings back those like cooked to complete oblivion peas. Just going to taste that and make sure we're not feeding anybody something crazy. Does look really good though. Oh, it tastes good too. Woo! That was so worth it. Okay. So then I think the best way to do this is just like literally a little pile of mash, peas right there. Get it all together in a little pile. Take your potato and just sort of put it just like the corner of the peas like that. Right, so you got a little spot here for some sauce if you want it, you know, ketchup, whatever you like. I know a lot of people like ketchup with potatoes. And that's it. That is our very chaotic, but going to be absolutely delicious potato bowl, New England baked dinner potato bowl. What is that? That is the craziest thing. My fan won't turn off? What? Anyways, I am so confused right now. Mashed peas, potatoes.
Hey,
episode. I'm so
that's
happy that we got
great.
a crazy one for your last one.
And what a great way to use frozen peas.
Why is this on?
That looks so good. Chris, come back.
I'm coming back. I'm trying to figure out why my fan is on.
I want to introduce Emily. This is Emily Becker, everybody. She's taking over my position just like in a couple of weeks, April 1st, but she's starting at the library next week. And it's wonderful to see you. I'm so glad I get a chance to introduce you.
I know, and this was awesome.
Are you sorry you can't eat that?
This is great. I know, I'm so excited to work with Chris and everyone else in the library. This is going to be really fun. And I'm excited to learn from Chris.
It's so fun. Yeah, and she's a real foodie, Chris. So this is going to be like perfect. This is just great. But so everybody, meet Emily. She's
Nice to meet you
up
all. And
front.
if I don't see you before next month, hopefully I'll see you before then. Yeah, looking forward to continuing these great cooking shows.
And thank you so much for jumping on. That was so nice of you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, everybody. That was one for the books, I gotta say. That's what we like to call being in the weeds, potentially.
It was like in the very beginning 2 years ago when we started this sort of.
We have probably a better dish now than I did when I like originally set out to make. So like, I'm all for it.
Yeah, you get to eat it, so you're lucky.
Exactly.
You get to make dinner now.
Yeah, exactly. Learn from my my experience, and just keep cooking. You know, just like they say, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep cooking. Something will come out, and if it doesn't taste good, you know, put sauce on it. It'll make it better.
Famous motto, put sauce on it.
Exactly.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks,
everybody.
everybody.
Really appreciate everybody.
Thanks, Lily.